yourself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past.
Good evening and welcome to NUFC Matters. It is the 5-minute rant or rave. I think we've had to call it a rave, lads, because Newcastle are doing well at the minute. So I think a rave's probably more appropriate. We'll come on and might see some people actually coming on full of as much optimism as Dave Reed has when he comes on. But Pete and Chris have joined us as always. Good evening, lads.
Evening, mate.
Chris is nursing a hangover, and Pete's cock a hoop because he's managed to get another result with his football teams, our football team. So well done, Pete. I didn't realise you were a bit of a cat as well.
I'm not. But look, I go back to my old school days when I used to play in goal. So whenever we need a goalkeeper, I'd say I'll step in. But I'd rather be on the sidelines, if I'm honest, barking orders.
Good stuff, mate. Good stuff. That's what it's all about. Bottle washer and putting the nets up and down and stuff like that. I did 20 years of that, mate. Great days, great memories, and gives you a lot of satisfaction. But as always, this is your show. The link is down in the description box. So if you want to join us and give us your views on Newcastle United in the next hour, please do. Plenty to talk about. Obviously, Newcastle extended the lead over Fulham by a 3-point margin yesterday. We're up to 9 points. Any of you who were of a nervous disposition and decided to watch Arsenal and Fulham this afternoon will have seen Arsenal doing their best to give Fulham all 3 points, but they managed to get a last-minute equaliser. So we go into the next set of fixtures, 8 points clear with a game in hand. Dream world really for Newcastle fans when you think 4 or 5 weeks ago when we started this programme, things looked like doom and gloom, looked as if we were hurtling into the Championship. It just shows you how things can turn. However, had that goal not gone in for Arsenal today, we could have all been sitting here going, oh, well, it's only 6 points now, it's a game in hand. It's just weird. It's weird. But I think most of us feel confident enough that our points total at the minute will just be enough. Might need another point, say, but will just be enough to keep us up. But let's see what Wilfred feels. Good evening, Wilfred. How are you?
Good evening, everybody.
Yes, good to see you, mate. Good to see you. You have been optimistic on the show in the past, mate, and your optimism is obviously rubbed off on Steve Bruce and the lads in the dressing room. So
I know.
Over to you, mate, and give us your views on what's happened and what's changed this transformation.
I think, first of all, let's give credit where credit is due. I'm not Steve Bruce's fan, as you all know, but, it's done well in the last 2 games. So credit to him and the boys. We're happy we're getting the wins we all want. I think it's just maybe the fans, the players are beginning to listen to the fans. We all said, they need to change things. They need to change tactics. They need to be more courageous. They need to be more attacking. And that's what they've been doing since after the sports game. So we've seen the results. So happy days. So, yeah, we seems to be up and running, upwards and onwards. Hopefully, we can continue up until the end of the season and keep Fulham at bay and be safe. But the reality is, come next season, we don't want to be in a situation where we have to be like fighting relegation, hoping and wishing every time, trying not to be relegated. That's not what we want. I know the pundits will come around and say, oh, yes, Steve Bruce has done a fantastic job. He's kept you up. We don't have any right to criticize the bottom 20 club or whatever. That's not who we are. We want to be ambitious as well. We want to be top 6, top 8. Whatever is going to take us to get there, takeover or no takeover, Steve Bruce is not going to be answer for that. So, well done to him for all these recent results, but this is not where we want to be on the long term. So, for me, I think it's good form we are in at the moment. So, let's enjoy it. Let's support the boys. Let's support Steve Bruce. Let's keep, the team together. Let's see them over the line. Make sure that we retain our Premiership status, and then see what happens next season. As you know, I'm still hopeful for takeover. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just stupid, but I've been very stupid many times before, and it has worked in my favor. So I'm hoping that the takeover is still going to come up, but we need our Premiership status to be in there for a shout. So, I'm happy with the way things are, and I'm sure most of our fans are happy. and I hope that's going to continue. That's how I feel right now. I'm happy, like most fans, and I wish Steve Bruce and the boys best of luck for the remaining games of the season. But come next season, we want to be better than just fighting relegation. We're tired of that, especially when we get back to the stadium. We want to see good football. We want to see attacking football. We want to see the players being ambitious, going forward. We don't want top four. We don't want to be the, champions of England now, but we want to be competitive. So for those pundits who can come in, because I'm expecting that very soon to say, oh yeah, Steve Bruce has fantastic, it's kept you up. So what are you talking about? We just don't want to be kept up. We want to be ambitious. We want to be, challenging those mid-table teams. And we don't want to be waiting for the last 10 games of the season, thinking whether we're going to have a premiership status. That's not what we want. So for now, let's enjoy the success. Let's enjoy the wins. And let's continue to see how the team is going to perform and get us to the end of the season so that we can look forward to next season, look forward to being back in the stadium, and then we see what happens with the takeover. That's me.
Fantastic, Wilfred. As always, made your points eloquently. And Manchester United, as you will have seen, have taken the lead against Burnley. Greenwood with the goal. Sublime bit of skill in there as well. Well worth a watch on Match of the Day later on. Pete, come to you first then, mate. What do you think about what Wilfred's had to say? Very positive as always.
I love it. I love it. It's exactly what we wanted to hear today, because look, we've had so much negativity over the course of this season. It's just nice to actually talk positively. We can, no matter how much we slate Steve Bruce, we can be positive about some of the things that have happened over the last couple of weeks, because it has been to the positivity of the team and the results. We're in a great position at the moment to get out of this mess. Everything's looking bright. We're playing well. That's the key. We're playing well, and hopefully, as Wilfred has said, we're looking at having new owners at the end of this summer, and this is all what it's building up to. Us staying in the league, giving us a chance to have a better future and a brighter future. I think Wilfred's spot on. If we can get this takeover done, I think that would be on the icing on the cake of what we've had to suffer for the last 8-9 months. So great to hear. Thank you, Wilfred, for coming on as always. And yeah, let's keep with the positivity.
Yeah, let's keep the positivity. Man U won, Burnley won. That was a short-lived lead. James Tarkowski got the goal for Burnley, so 1-1 as you were down at Old Trafford. Chris, your take on Wilfred's comments?
Yeah, I mean, as Pete said, I always enjoy Wilfred coming on. Nice to see you again, Wilfred. I'm missing the Homer Simpson picture, by the way. I love that Homer Simpson picture. But no, I thought some of your comments were really, really good, mate. And you're absolutely spot on. Bruce does have to be given some credit. We've played really well the last couple of games. And it was weird going into the West Ham game yesterday, because honestly, not for 1 minute did I think we're not getting anything from this game. I really fancied us yesterday, and I know me and Pete spoke about it before. About the way we set up. It wasn't suited to West Ham. West Ham don't want a team who will be defensive and then go on the counter attack. They don't like that. They like teams having a go at them. But I thought we played fantastically well yesterday, and we deserved the 3 points. I mean, obviously, I was heartbroken when it went 2-2. But then when we got that deserved winner, I was really pleased. And I think to touch on one of the points you were saying, about people giving Bruce credit, he does deserve credit, but I will draw the line at what Gabby Bonlahor said the other day, and said that a mound of Newcastle fans should all go and apologise to him, because that's just not going to happen. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to happen. He's done enough. The team are now playing well, and we go into next week's game at Anfield with a bit of optimism. I mean, why can't we go to Anfield and get something? Because every game that I'm watching Liverpool play, they just don't look the same team. And if you can get at them, why not? So yeah, I'm really positive. And as I say, thanks for coming on, Wilfred. I always enjoy what you've got to say. But yeah, I thought it was everything just feels good at the moment, doesn't it? Which is great.
Yeah, Wilfred, thanks very much, mate. I hope to see you again before the end of the season, mate. You take care and enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye
Take care,
bye.
mate.
Great to have Wilfred on. And yeah, 1-1 at Old Trafford between Man United and Burnley, although I think we're more concerned about the Fulham result than anything else. And I think the Steve Bruce thing for me, and I've had a little bit of criticism on Twitter from people just saying, well, can't understand why you're congratulating Steve Bruce. It's because it's his job to manage the dressing room. And we all know that there's been a huge fallout in that dressing room. And essentially, he's made his peace with Richie, with the Longstaff brothers, by the looks of it, especially Sean. And for me, I just think that in itself is what I'm giving Steve Bruce praise for. The fact that he's realised there's an issue. However it's been sorted out, it's been sorted out. And he's got those players performing again. And, they're going out and playing for him, Chris.
They are. You can see that in the performances. We do look much better, and we're actually playing some really nice football. And he's even getting his team selection right, because we've all been crying out for ages for the likes of Matt Ritchie to come in the team, Sean Longstaff to come in the team, and there's been a marked improvement. And while the players are playing well and they're playing for him, I can't really complain at Bruce. Do I want him long term? No, I don't. But credit where credit is due. You've got to give him praise. He's obviously took his medicine. He's made up with the players, and he's now picking the best team that he possibly can, and they're performing for him. So what more can we ask?
Yeah, I mean, look, Gary Finnegan saying second half yesterday was disgraceful. Anyone agree? Pete, we're not praising some of the football. I mean, I think what people forget is West Ham aren't the West Ham from last season. This is West Ham who are chasing Champions League football. This is West Ham who, Newcastle with the blot on their copybook, if you like. We beat them at the start of the season. Jeff Hendrick scored against them, for God's sake. But West Ham are chasing Champions League football, and Newcastle at times made them look second best. Oh yeah, of course there was a sending off. But you still have to do the graft to beat them. And West Ham put up a fight. They came back. They got back to 2-2. But once again, Steve Bruce made the substitution, which led to the goal. And Willock was on the pitch for 83 seconds before he got that goal. But that was another substitution at the right time. For all we don't really want Steve Bruce at the football club, he is in charge of the football club at the moment. He's the only person who has the capability of putting that team sheet in. And, along with the rest of the coaching staff, Graham Jones et al., he's the one who picks them, trains them, puts the team out, and he's getting a response from them. And that's all we can ask him to do. And for me, that is why he deserves praise, because, like it or lump it, in the last 7 games, Newcastle have turned it round.
Well, look, we've only lost 1 in 7. So, when we were talking about, all the games that we lost in a row and we couldn't buy a win and all the rest of it, we're unbeaten. We've lost 1 in 7. We're unbeaten in the last 3. You can't ask for any more than that. We're picking up points that we need to stay in the league. We cannot moan at that. You now look back at the likes of West Brom and Villa and Wolves, and you think actually those 3 points that we got, although we're disappointed we didn't win any of those games, actually they've turned out to be crucial points in games where we could have potentially lost. So, you look at the bigger picture of it. I mean, the one thing I'll say with regards to Steve Bruce is that I always say, it takes a bigger man to rectify his mistakes. And like you've said, he's identified the issues that he's had with Sean Longstaff, and he's corrected them by getting him back in the team. He's again, exactly the same with Matt Ritchie. He's understood and recognised the mistakes that he made with Matt Ritchie and the big fallout. What he's done, he's now got him back in the team. Now you look at those 2 performances of those 2 players in recent games, and it tells you everything you need to know. And for me, he could have been very, very stubborn and put his foot down and said, no, I'm not doing it, and kept them out of the team for the rest of the season. And that we could have been sat in the bottom 3 right now. So for me, he's been the bigger man in that he's recognised his mistakes, he's corrected it, and we're benefiting from it. And for me, as a Newcastle fan, that's all I care about. I care about what we do on the pitch. I care about the points that are on the board. I care about where we are in the league. I care about the fact that we need to be a Premier League club. That's all I care about right now. And I'm not, no matter how I feel about Steve Bruce, I'm not going to sit here and not give him praise when he has done things well. He has made good subs. He has made changes at the right times. He's made changes at the wrong times, and we give him criticism for that. we should also be able to praise him when he's done the right thing. And you know, I'm not going to be biased to him or against him for any reason whatsoever. And I don't think anyone else should be either.
No, Mike Stewart, he's asking, would you get rid of Bruce at the end of the season? That isn't going to happen. You know, this is all down to the takeover now. Arbitration is the key. Arbitration, if we win arbitration, the takeover goes through. I'm sure the new owners will bring their new manager in. Steve Bruce will get a big thank you for what he's done, and that'll be the end of that. Arbitration fails. Nick DeMarco gets into court. It drags on. And Mike Ashley remains as the owner of the club. Steve Bruce, I would imagine, will remain as the manager. And that's a reality that Newcastle fans are going to have to get used to. We could go into the start of the new season with Steve Bruce still as manager, still with Mike Ashley as the owner. My big question then would be, is there going to be any money spent? Because we can't go into next season with the same team and the same squad. There needs to be additions. There's going to be people leave. Going to be interesting summer again at St James's Park. Andrew Ward, I suggest you watch earlier my programme that I did earlier today with Ben Jacobs. You can get it on Catch Up Now. It's live on the channel. A lot of your questions about the Inter Milan suggestion are on there. The quick answer is, look, there has been an interest in Inter Milan in the past, but they're still very focused on buying Newcastle. But very well worth a watch with Ben Jacobs. Clears a lot of things up. Again, it's his opinion, but well worth a watch. Okay, we've got Funby and we've got Dave Reed lined up next. So Funby is on. Good afternoon. How are you, mate? Good to see you, mate.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys, man. Good win yesterday. Everyone's in good spirits.
Well, it's been a good week. It's been a good fortnight, Funby, and I mean, like Pete's already pointed out. You know, the last couple of months since we started this show, you've been on a couple of times, different people have been on, and we've all been doom and gloom. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with being happy about Newcastle, is there? Because, you know, we need to be smiling. Everyone should be smiling at the minute.
Well, you know what? It's not even just, it's even in the draws, the passion was there. The performances were coming. And I think the Tottenham ones where we kind of turned the corner because we went a goal ahead and then conceded 2 goals instantly. But we fought, and Joe Willett comes on and scores. Well, not just scores, he celebrates passionately, like, let's get this, And we kind of built up through then. I'm not as excited as you guys talking about let's buy Steve Bruce a Christmas present. I'm not there yet. However, I'm not there yet. If we sack him tomorrow, I'll still be happy. However, and the reason why, because I don't think we should have been in this position anyway. But he did say something yesterday. We missed a lot of key players. I didn't realize that we missed so many key players over the course of a season. My only issue was even when we didn't have those key players, we sat back too much. We gave too many average teams too much respect. And I'm just glad that now we're realizing that we're good. West Ham, without their key weapons yesterday, were basic to me. Lingard's been scoring a storm since he went to West Ham. He did nothing but a penalty yesterday. He barely got in our box. So we got players. ASM was killing them yesterday. And I just couldn't believe how we were playing. We were 2-0 up, and I was depressed because I was thinking, how are we 2-0 up in the first half just doing what we want? I've not seen this. But we got complacent. We got cocky with it. I think Murphy, who's Pete's boy, needs to start making better decisions, but we'll just leave that, okay? And we just kind of relaxed. But then one thing I just realized, they've got 10 men. If they put it on this team, they can't beat us. And thankfully, we got that through.
Yeah, no, what do you make of Fumby's rant, Pete?
Fumby, always straight to the point, never ever messes around. But no, I agree with him. I agree with everything that he says. Some good points about Steve Bruce. I don't think anyone's going overboard. Certainly not on here. But yeah, there are times where he could have made a better and better judgment when we've had injuries. The selection's always has been an issue over the season, but for me, I'm just glad that he's now getting that right. There are players out there that could have improved and could be better, but look, we're seeing improvements from these players bit by bit, and they're slowly and surely starting to get used to playing at Premier League level. Jacob Murphy, for example, from being mentioned, is a perfect example of that. Going into this season, knowing he had a year left on his contract, for me, I was quite happy for him to go because I didn't see any improvement in his game. But I'm now seeing that, you know, not just the passion, he's always had the passion and determination, but I'm actually seeing the quality and the final product starting to come through with him. And at 25, 26 years old, I think that now, giving him a new contract, if he can continue in that vein, he could be an actual really useful Premier League player for us in the future, regardless of who's our owner. I think we're starting to see these things coming through now. So yeah, really good points. Lots to be positive about, as we've already said, and I believe, you know, going into the other games, and I'm sure we'll talk about it shortly. I'm confident now. I'm confident going into these games. I had Arsenal now down as a win. I believe that even more after watching them today and other games where we might not have even expected to get anything. I believe that we're going to really give these teams a game.
Okay, Chris, what did you make of what Funby had to say? We've lost him. He's looked like he's out and about, but you got his point across before we lost him. So, yeah, what was your views on that? He's he's always very passionate, and like he says, he's not going to add Steve Bruce to a Christmas card list like we are. But neither are we. I think we just feel, the knocking of Steve Bruce has got to stop when, at least, temporarily, while he's getting a few things right.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. I mean, Funby coming on, I'm always made up when Funby comes on because he makes some great points, and as Pete said, he's very to the point and very direct. And sometimes sometimes you need that. And I think he's right in the respect that we can't go overboard on Bruce, and that is absolutely right. But as we've said before, Steve, we need to celebrate and we need to be positive when things are working. And at the moment, the team is playing well. He's picking the right team, and we're getting points on the board. We've actually got an identity. And for me, we've not had an identity for a very long time. That Spurs game, the effort was there. And I really enjoyed watching it because even I think I was on Matchday Live with yourselves. And I remember even saying, you know what, even if we don't win this game, I'm happy because we actually look like we're performing well and we know where we're going. And it was the same yesterday, in the West Ham game. Obviously, there was mistakes there. We're not the best team in the world, but we're playing now with a bit of passion. The players are putting the effort in, and we actually look like we're competing and we're trying to win games. And so I've got no problem with that. And certainly, in terms of like the Bruce out stuff, for now, me personally, I'm not telling others what to do, but me personally, I'm not going to be chanting for Steve Bruce's head. I don't see that. But it's not going to help us going forward. I think we need to park it. We need to accept the fact that we've got Bruce till at least the end of the season. Even if the takeover happened tomorrow, we'd still have Bruce till the end of the season because there's no point making a change. So late in the season. And, for once, I think we all just kind of need to go, okay, he's our manager. We'll get on with it. We'll get the points we need. We'll stay in the league. And then we can obviously, reposition hopefully next season.
Okay, good stuff. Funby is back. We lost you there, mate. Just technical issues. But
my bad, guys. My bad.
No problem, mate. Yeah, but listen, great points. The lads have responded to it as well. But I think as well, Fulham's form, or lack of it in the last few games has certainly helped as well. But there's been a lot of talk about the takeover. Funby, are you feeling more optimistic on that? Are you feeling pessimistic, or are you nonplussed on that? What's your feeling on that at the minute?
I've learned as a Newcastle fan to just focus on what you can actually believe in. And the only thing I can believe in is we're going to play a game next week, Saturday. I know we got Liverpool coming up, and that's all I can believe in. I'm happy with it. Like Chris said, man, I'm not out here looking for Bruce's neck. I leave it. You know what I mean? I don't get upset no more. I just try and, hey, man, Joe Linton is about to sign for Real Madrid, man. We have to look at the positives that has been happening. Because, even Joe Linton's playing well now. So I'm just happy the team's working. If we get taken over, great. If we don't, and I'm happy if Steve Bruce is at the club at the beginning of next season, because I just believe by then he will understand the team more and we won't have these issues. I just don't want us to, I just don't want the team to get relegated. If Mike Ashley's still here, we have to go with what we go with, probably buy 2 players for 20 million and then loan the rest of the whole country. I get it. I'm happy with that format. I just need Newcastle to keep going. I can't do takeover stories because you end up reading about everything and I just can't.
Okay, good stuff. As always, Funby, great to have you on, mate. Hopefully, see you again soon, mate. Take care.
Take care, mate.
Bye-bye. Great to have him on. On to Mr. Optimistic then. David Reid, good evening.
Hello.
Now, David, I think a lot of people owe you an apology in the chat because you really have been optimistic all the way through. Most of us, including myself, were all feeling lower than low could be over 4 or 5 weeks ago, feeling Newcastle were cruising towards relegation. But for some reason, you were optimistic. Have faith; it'll all be all right. And to be honest, David, you've been proved right so far. Fulham have gone on a bit of a a reverse trend. They've lost games, and even today they'll be utterly disappointed, only getting a point out of that game when they should have had all 3. But combine that with Newcastle finding a bit of form and getting a couple of crucial wins against Burnley, and now yesterday against an informed West Ham. Newcastle find themselves 8 points clear with a game in hand of the bottom 3. So you were right, David.
We're not out with the woods yet, but well, we're pretty much on. I mean, Fulham still need 3 wins to relegate us. Not going to happen. And it's a great result yesterday because it now brings Burnley and Brighton into the mix, and they must be shitting themselves now. Sorry for my language, but they must be crapping themselves. Yeah. I just want to quickly point on 2 more things. This European Super League stuff. I couldn't help but think, is this another way to put off potential buyers for Newcastle? You know, we haven't been invited. So if it does go ahead, which I don't think it will, I think it's a no-go. But that's all politics. And the last one is I watched Ben this morning, and with his predictions of investment with new owners, would Willock be one of the players we would sign? Because people are putting around, you know, he's a player we could make a team around, and would anybody take him?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, the European Super League, David, is something which obviously I've just listened to Gary Neville this afternoon. He's covering Man United versus Burnley, which is still 1-1 for those interested. And yeah, I mean, he said, Pete, that they should be taking points off these teams that have who've basically said that they're going to sign up to it. I mean, my understanding is that this isn't going to be until season 23-24, so it's a little way off yet. And the idea would be that the European Super League would replace the Champions League. But again, you know, from our perspective, you know, it's something which, like, David says, well, you know, Newcastle haven't been invited at the table. It's the supposed Big Six. What did you make of those developments? What do you make of what David said?
I think David made some great points, not just about the Super League, the other points as well, and I think we'll touch on all of them. Starting with the Super League, I think the reaction of the announcement tells me a lot more about this situation. So the fact that all of the leagues, the FA, UEFA, have all come out very, very quickly and slammed this potential announcement. Apparently, it could have been announced as early as this evening, as so the reports believed. And I think how quickly they've come out to slam this, and naturally Sky and Gary Neville would come out and slam this even further because they are the Premier League effectively, and the Premier League would significantly be hampered by the fact that these teams are going into a European Super League. So it doesn't surprise me that they've come out and slammed it, but the how quickly it's come out to fight against it tells me a lot about this situation, in that they're going to fight tooth and nail to ensure that these clubs reject any type of move, or certainly back off from joining this European Super League. Look, let's face it, if there's a Super League, the game's ruined. The game's ruined, not just in England, but across Europe, because what every club in every division in this country wants is an opportunity to be competitive, have an opportunity to work their way up, to fight at the top of the table. You look at some of the teams that have come up into the Premier League with visions of maybe fighting for the Champions League. You look at Everton, you look at Wolves not long ago. You look at Sheffield United for last season with their great sort of performance last season. It was all with the view of potentially one day being able to legitimately fight at that level, even if it's just for one season, just to fight at that level. That's just taken away completely. It's taken away the competitive edge of what football was built on and what it's all about. So I think they're going to fight tooth and nail to ensure that stops. I think with regards to David's points of view with regards to staying up, I do think that we're safe. I don't see Fulham gaining enough points on us to cause us a problem. I think today's result was a classic example of that. Arsenal were dreadful, but yet Fulham still couldn't beat them. And I think that tells you a lot about where Fulham are at right now. And I think if they lose to Chelsea in their next game in a couple of weeks' time, which I fully expect to happen, and then I think they've got Burnley at home. Burnley are a difficult team, and I think they'll find it difficult to win them. I think we'll have enough points on the board to see us safe in about 3 weeks' time.
Okay, Chris, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, really, really good points, David, as always, mate. To follow on from your expression of out of the woods, I think we've got 1 foot out of the woods. I think and do I think we'll survive? Yeah, I do now. Absolutely. I always hoped we'd survive, but I wasn't as positive about it as you, David. So fair play to you there, mate. Fulham just look done, don't they? Unfortunately for them, they just look done. And I always find as well, when it's the manner, and I always say this expression, it's the manner of the defeats. Like they played against Wolves the other week and they lost, didn't they, 1-0? And Adama Traore scored in like the last 30 seconds, and then again today, Nketiah has scored in like the 7th minute of added time. That's when you know you're in trouble, because they're straight away. They've missed out on 4 points, all from those last 2 goals, and the big differences. And now they've got 5 games left, and they've got to win 3 of them at least, and it just won't happen. So yeah, I think Fulham are done. In terms of the Super League, and I've had my say on this before, they're absolutely welcome to it. To use it, pardon me French, but fuck them, because if they want to go off and do that, that's absolutely fine. But say for example the 6, say you've got your Chelsea, Tottenham, Man City, Arsenal, etc. The likes of Arsenal and Tottenham, there's no point in them even going. There's no point in them even going. They're just going to be competing. Say there's 15 teams in the league, for example. They're not going to get anywhere. They're not going to do anything. They're just going to be very, very small fish in a big pond. And it's as a an Arsenal, Tottenham, even a Chelsea fan, that would worry me. I really would not want. I would certainly would not want us to go in that league. And I think they'd have big regrets if they do, and I don't think it'd take off at all. Or people will get excited and go, "Oh, it's Barcelona against Liverpool this week." Imagine that every single week. Yeah. Everyone would just switch off from it and go, "I can't be bothered with that." Do you know what I mean? It's just it's not for me. I'm not a fan of it. To talk about your, sorry, go on.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, to go on to your last point, David, as well about Willock. I think we might struggle to keep up Willock, because I think Arsenal need him. I look at the Arsenal team and I think, how have you let him go? It's mad that we've managed to get hold of him. I mean, I really hope we keep him. He looks a breath of fresh air. I'm a big fan of his. I think he looks really good. And as Pete mentioned earlier, when he's scoring, he looks really passionate, doesn't he? And he looks like he's absolutely loving his time here. So long may that continue. But yeah, I'd certainly look to sign him. Obviously, the price would be an issue. Whether that's been agreed or not, we don't know. Behind closed doors. But if he was going for say 15-20 million, I'd definitely be interested, because I think it'd be good. Ideally, I'd probably want him on another season-long loan, maybe with the not mandatory to buy, but like an option to buy, and set the figure. That's probably what I'd do, because as we all saw with Kennedy in his first season, fantastic. Second season, not so, and we very nearly signed Kennedy, didn't we? And now where's he playing now? Is he in La Liga playing in Getafe or something? So yeah,
it's a good point. Paul Oxley's just made it in the chat there as well about Kennedy. You know what I mean? That it doesn't always, the second season doesn't always tend to be as good. And, maybe we'll spend money on him and it's money down the drain, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it doesn't look that way. With Kennedy, sometimes he'd be brilliant. And then other times you just think, where's he gone? He's been missing the whole game. He's just been a passenger. I don't question Willock's attitude because to me, and especially if the rumours are true, that Shelby's been giving him a little bit of stick. Fair play to him for just getting on with it and carrying on playing and showing the right attitude. It could have been very easy for him to just put himself under a rock and go missing. But he's come out fighting, hasn't he? And he's scored 2 very important goals for us recently. So yeah, I'd be all for keeping Willock for the season.
Okay, anything else to add, David?
Just quickly on the European Super League. I mean, if that came into effect, then the likes of Leicester and even go back further, Blackburn, they wouldn't have qualified for the Champions League if it's all an exclusive club. So, like I say, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, Fulham, just quickly on Fulham, they were 1-0 up. They lost 3 goals in 10 minutes against Villa. They lost last minute against Wolves, and they lost the goal today in the last minute against Arsenal. So they're done. And I think people have said, we'll pick up points, we'll be fine. And I've said it all along. But
can I just add to that? I mean, it's that we're looking at these possibilities with the idea that we're not going to get any more points this season. All of this is based on us being on 35 points right now, and I genuinely believe that we're going to get at least another 3 points between now and the end of the season. You look at the Sheffield United game. I mean, you look at the Fulham game. You look at. I mean, and I know we talked about
Arsenal
it in the Arsenal game as well. But we talked about it in the sort of the final countdown show we were on with Holly and Alicia, and we. I know there was a lot of talk about Fulham and it'd be a difficult game, but you look at the way they're playing now, we'd trouble that Fulham team. Fulham wouldn't come at us in the way that West Ham have, in the way that Tottenham have. Fulham are not capable. They haven't got the players to. But the way we're playing right now, with the players that we've got up there, fit and firing, we could destroy Fulham, and I'd be confident of that. With the provider that we'll have 35 points, I think we'll still be safe. But we've still got points left to pick up this season. And I actually like the fact, and we haven't really talked about it, but I actually really like the fact that Bruce said, rather than the 35 is enough, he was saying he wants to beat last season's total of 44. He's setting his target high. He's setting it not just to stay in the league, but he wants it higher. Whether he means that or not, I don't know. But for me, he said a lot of rubbish in the media in his press conferences before. For me, that was a positive step because he's not just thinking that this is just enough. He wants more. And he's sending out a message to his players that this isn't it now. Just because you won today doesn't mean that we're safe. I demand more from you. And I like that.
Yeah. Didn't we beat them 4-0 the last time we played them at Craven Cottage?
Yeah, Rafa's last game.
Yeah, I don't think, well, it's not going to go to that. And like a lot of people are saying in the chat, they're not going to win 3 games. I can't see them winning 3 games now. I think if they got that 3 points today, again, it could have jettisoned them into feeling confident and feeling as if they could get something. I just think that was a sucker punch today for them. Despite the officials again at VAR trying their best to give them something, it didn't quite work out for them. And I think it's over. I think Newcastle are safe. I don't think anybody needs to worry. I think the bottom 3 is the bottom 3 now. West Brom can try all they like. I think it's long gone that now. I think Big Sam's done his magic, but it just hasn't managed to get them playing his way in time. And I think I think the only thing to be decided now is who finishes second bottom and who finishes third bottom. And I think it'll be West Brom and Fulham will be competing for who finishes in that position. But other than that, I can't see anybody else collapsing. And I think the bottom 3 are the bottom 3, David.
One quickie.
Yep, go for it.
Let's not think Bruce is the Messiah, because this rejuvenation and form has come far too late. It should never have come to this point of the season. And I still believe whatever happens to the summer, regardless, he should be gone.
Do you see where I'm coming from, though, David? I'm not being negative at all about Steve Bruce whilst he's getting some points on the board. And look, what he has done is he's clearly held his hands up and said, I'm wrong, because Richie and Longstaff and Murphy are back in the team, and there's no surprise that with those three back in the team, Newcastle's fortunes have changed. And yeah, it'll be down to him. It'll be down to Graham Jones's new methods. It's, but it's worked, and Bruce deserves some credit for that. He does deserve some credit. He's not the Messiah. Nobody thinks he's the Messiah. I just feel personally that, why keep ripping into Steve Bruce when we're doing okay, and it's nothing to celebrate. Nobody's celebrating staying up, but it feels like we should be celebrating it because we were going down. There's no doubt about it. We were going down, but the fact that he's actually held his hands up and said, I've created this mess, I need to sort it out, deserves at least a pat on the back. And that's why I've said it. But not calling him Messiah. I don't want him in the managerial hot seat. But I'm also a realist in the sense that I think he will still be in that dugout if the takeover hasn't gone through by the time the new season starts. And that's going to be another, somebody mentioned it today when I was out on my walk. Oh God, you're joking. And I went, yeah, well, that's the way I feel it would be. And he said, well, it's going to be like Groundhog Day next season. And it is. It'll be like Groundhog Day.
I don't think they could take that chance. I think they would just have to get rid of him and even put like somebody like Graham Jones in caretaker charge until it's all done and dusted with a takeover.
We haven't talked about it, and I know it's been mentioned here and there by certain journalists, but do we not think there's an opportunity for him to walk away in the summer with his head held high, knowing that he's kept us in the league with all the stick that he's got over the course of the season? Because I've got that in my mind. I'm not saying he's going to, but I've always got that in my mind that, get out while it's high. We talked about this at Restart, and we said about Steve Bruce, with the takeover and everything that was going on, that look, he's kept us in the league. He's effectively done his job for a year. Great stuff. Go away. You'll be liked by the Newcastle fans because you've not outstayed your welcome. It didn't come to fruition. He stayed another season. The stick that he's got, and rightly so, for a long part of that season, has been like crazy. And health-wise and all the rest of it, I just think this is the great time. We're playing good football. We're getting points on the board. We're going to, fingers crossed, 99.9% there in terms of staying in the league. Why not walk away at that point, head held high, let someone else take on the mantle, and then you can sort of ride off into the sunset and keep your reputation intact? And I'm thinking, that would be the smart move. It would be the smart move right there for Steve Bruce. So something else to consider maybe.
It's a really interesting point. That sorry, David, I was just saying to Pete, really interesting point, because if Bruce left now at the end of the season, he'd quite easily get another job, because people looking at it would go, well, he's worked in a really difficult place and he's managed to keep Newcastle up. There's been some terrible football, us as fans know that, we watch it week in, week out, but things have improved and he's turned it round. And I think a few clubs, certainly in the Championship, they definitely get him another job. But like you say, Pete, if he carries on, say we go into next season, no takeover, and he carries on. Say we lose the first 6, 7, 8 games, and then Ashley goes, right, get rid. His stock is so low then. So like you say, maybe not. Maybe the end of the season would be a good time for him. And then I think a lot of people would look back and go, do you know what? We didn't like him. We played some terrible football under him, but. He's walked away. He's kept us up. So I wouldn't really want to say he leaves a legacy, but he can say, I've done my best. I've done what I came to do. I've kept the club in the league, and no one could really argue with him on that.
It's on his terms as well. It's on his terms if he walks away. Rather, a little bit like Alan Pardew. Remember, Alan Pardew got a hell of a lot of stick, but then he kind of left on his terms and then went to Crystal Palace. Yeah. It would be a similar way. I mean, if he really is a fan of the club, he's obviously, he's perceived to be a local boy, and surely you would want to leave on positive terms. If he stays for another season, it's only really going to end in one way, and that's a sacking. It is, and. I think it'd be a smart play to avoid all of that and to leave in the close season, give the new manager a chance to build and sign players and whatever. And like you said, he would get another job in the Championship. Whether it takes or not, I don't know. But yeah, just something to think about.
Yeah, as always, some great comments from you, David. And as I say, you've been very, very optimistic all the way through this down period. So I thank you for your optimism, mate. Thank you for your support on the shows, mate, as well, mate. So I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care, David.
Thank you. Thanks, lads.
Take care, David.
Time for one more, and it's part of our regular team who's joining us. Busy at work for his match day live yesterday. I'm glad to see things are picking up for you, Babu. But good to see you back on the show, and just want to hear your views on what's going on at St James's Park at the moment.
I think Pete gave Bruce an exit plan. We ride off into the sunset. One last job.
Yeah.
Oh, but no, I think it's quite weird though. Part of me was thinking that, okay, Bruce is finally looking like he's competent at his job, and everybody is just supposed to. We give him the credit, as you say. You give him credit where credit is due. You're doing the right job now. If you had done this at the start of the season, all the way through, it would be a different story. But I agree with you. We're probably not going to get any other manager apart from Bruce unless there's a takeover. So maybe we should just come to terms with that and just let it be, at least to the end of the season. Part of me is I'm actually conflicted about that win yesterday, because if you look at it objectively and not as a Newcastle fan, they scored an own goal and then the keeper made a mistake, and then we scored one goal against a 10-man team, right? And now I'm a very positive person, but I was looking at it and I was like, there's something not right here. But now we're just taking it as we get it, because that's what we got. But it's quite good to see a number of like the Newcastle fan base just happy and positive. It's been how many weeks since all the negativity? I feel like we've had enough. Also, one thing is just that there just seems to be a sense of togetherness in the team that's making even the games that we thought would be very difficult bearable. Let's say bearable. I won't say easier, because I remember before the Tottenham game, Fumbi was like, "We're not picking up points against Tottenham or West Ham," and I was like, "It's not that bad, guys. It's not that bad. We can struggle to get a draw. Like it shouldn't be that bad." But one thing I actually am waiting to see is one of the pundits that has always been like, "Oh, the players at Newcastle are terrible." I'm like, what are you guys now? Because earlier in the season, the players aren't good enough. The players aren't good enough. I think even the fans knew that the players were good enough. We're just like, what are the tactics? What is the plan? And it's just nice to see that now.
Are you reading Spenny Mag's comment?
But it caught me off guard. No, but yeah, I just really like it, and trust me, it's just nice. I think Bruce should definitely take his paycheck and walk away. There is no problem in there.
I don't think he's going to do that. I think he'll hang on till his contract's up, and I think that's what he's going to do, Babu. I can't see Steve Bruce walking away from a payday, and there's that opportunity of hanging back. I'd love to think it. I love what the lads are saying about potentially walking away when he's on a high and he's done the job and he can hold his head up high when he has a coffee in Blake's on Grey Street, where I've seen him many a time. But yeah, ultimately, I don't think Steve Bruce is going to do that.
Yeah, no. It's that's why I said it's the Hollywood plan. It's the plan we ride off into the sunset with the gold in the britches, but it's not happening. But no, it's just really nice. I mean, if we can get 2 more wins, I'm not asking for too much. I just need 2 more wins, just 6 more points, just so we know we've passed that 40-point mark. And I think on Joe Willock, he seems to be doing a really good job, given that Bruce's directions is go and try and get a goal. So I think it will be a signing that we'll really like. Also, I just think we need to invest in wingers, because we can't have one winger out and the entire club is like, so who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? We need to invest. So if we're not going to be taken over by the PIF or anything, I'm hoping I'm very wrong, and next week we get some news. But we need to have a game plan. We lacked a game plan this season. We lacked it, because anytime one player is out, Almiron is out. Oh my God, who's gonna do this? Who's gonna do that? Wilson is out. Who's gonna score? Luckily, Joe Linton seems to have found where the net is for some reason. So yeah, I think that's amazing for him.
No, I think it's great to see Joe Linton putting the ball in the back of the net. It's what he's been, it's what he was bought to do. Yeah, fantastic. Great points, Babble. 3-1 to Manchester United now. Points in the bag for Ollie, and that's Burnley suffering another defeat. Let's hope Burnley can get themselves in order when they play Fulham. Pete, what do you make of what Babble's had to say?
No, as always, really great points. With regards to the playing staff, we've said it all throughout the season when we've been on the shows. We have got a squad that is mid-table in our current form. The players that we brought were there to improve the squad and make the squad better, and it has done that. But it's been a fact that it's not been managed well enough, and that does fall on Steve Bruce. He's made the changes recently, and things have been better. But ultimately, for that chunk of the season, particularly around December, January time, that squad was not managed in the way in which it should have been. That is the reason why we're in that mess. Now we can see now those players all coming back in and being in the team, and certainly Graham Jones coming in and the coaching being better. That they're playing in a certain way that's getting us up the pitch. Now, the one thing we need to do is as you said, we need to build on it. We need to build on it. You mentioned about wingers. For me, we need centre midfielders. We need centre midfielders to really give us a bit more bite in that midfield. We need a midfielder that's willing to put a tackle in. I go back to the Tiote days and the Gary Speed days. We always had that one midfielder. David Batty,
the man to do the dirty job.
Clark.
So far, Shelby is very bad at it.
That was solid. That was big and strong, that could get stuck in and let the other midfielders in the opposition know that they're in for a game. We're missing that. Hayden provides it in patches, but he's not quite that. He's not your flamboyant on the ball type midfielder, but he's not your all action midfielder. He's kind of a little bit in the middle, but we need that type of player. And we also need more goals from midfield. Willock's provided that this season, which is great. And I do agree with what Chris H said in terms of, I think that what we need is another loan from him. We need to see him for another season and not commit a huge chunk of money, because you look at someone like Joe Willock and you think, okay, he's scoring goals for us and he's playing well. That is exactly what Arsenal need. So why have they loaned him out? And you kind of question it, and you're kind of thinking, well, is he like that? Is that really him, or is he just kind of having a little flash moment? So another season, a full season, a little bit like Kennedy, like we mentioned, will give us a real idea of whether he's the real deal. And if he is, then you pay the money. I personally think if we get taken over, we don't sign him at all. That's just my. I think we'll be looking for elite players from the get-go. And that's just my opinion. And I think a Joe Willock signing is something that would be coming through. So a really good point with regards to that. I do think Steve Bruce has got a chance of walking away in the summer. I think that there is a chance of that happening. And I just love the positivity. I'm loving it with yourself, Babbo, with everyone that's been on tonight. I'm loving the positivity. It's a really nice change. And you know what? I would love to see the Newcastle fan base on social media with us, with the new owners, with us doing well in the season and seeing how this. Because look, we've had a couple of days of it, and we're all talking about how great it is and how positive it is. And social media is a great place to be at the moment. Imagine that with new owners. Imagine us being successful. Imagine us being at the top end of the table. We'd be arguing about the fact that we haven't scored enough goals, or the fact that our top striker, whoever that is, has only got 15 goals and not 20. I'd love to have that.
True.
I know. So all of your points have been spot on, Babbo, and nice and positive. Great to hear.
Chris, last words to you, mate, before we finish tonight.
Yeah, I agree with what Pete's been saying. Babbo always comes on and makes some fantastic points. I wanted to touch briefly on Joe Linton, because you know what, he's been quietly going about his business, hasn't he? And you're absolutely right, Babbo. The last 2 games he's getting his goals, isn't he? I mean, even his goal yesterday, it wasn't the best goal in the world, was it? But he was there. He was in the right place. He was active, and the keeper made a mistake, and he took full advantage of that. And really, that's all we can ask for, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
Joe Linton's never going to be a world beater. He's not, and
not that we know of yet.
no, do you know what? Do you know what? Yeah, he'll probably go and
I
score
mean,
25
that's
goals
the
next
same
season.
thing I thought about Tova. And then he left, and I was like, "Who's this? Where was this when you were here?"
Yeah. It's a shame, isn't it? And it goes back to what Pete was talking about then, you know, in terms of like the players. I mean, we as fans know that our team is good enough to be in the league, because it is. We've just been playing really poorly, and we've been managed very poorly. That has changed recently, and that's why I've got, you know, that's why I'm not going to knock Bruce, because he's getting it right. And credit where credit is due. I know we keep saying it, but that's exactly what it is. And long may that continue. You know, Pete's touched it as well, you know, on like the takeover and how that would feel. And my God, the whole place would just go bananas, wouldn't it? It really would.
I think
you know, we're all just hoping.
Party.
Yeah, we're all just hoping, aren't we? You know, that happens, and you know, I take his point about Willock. I agree. I don't think if this takeover goes through, I don't think we sign Willock. I think we're looking up here, you know, some elite players. And
Madison from Leicester would be my dream signing.
You'd break all the United fans' hearts. All of them.
Grealish is a great player as well, yeah, but just Madison.
No,
Madison threading balls through,
scoring goals. Anytime I think Grealish, I think Villa, and I can't separate the two. That's like, I don't know, thinking Roy Keane I'm like, no, I think Celtic. For me, I'm just like, no, Roy Keane is only Man United. I know he's played for other clubs, but
I wonder whether we'll ever do an NUFC Matters where we actually can talk about these realistically. You never know. We might look back on this show and go, that was the show we actually first mentioned talking about that. But it should be interesting. Babo, brilliant to have you on, mate. Look forward to getting you back on Match Day Live. Forget what Spenny says.
Don't worry. We're in for the Liverpool game.
Good stuff. Look forward to it. See you next week. Take care. Great to have Babo on. Always smiling. Doesn't matter what the result is. Great lad. Big thank you to Spider VPN, who've sponsored us for the last 3 months for your internet security. Get on to the guys. Great bunch of lads down there. And also our sponsor, one of our main sponsors for this week and this month has been Arcot Interiors. Pop onto their website to find out all about what they do. Fantastic kitchens, and Arcot Interiors have been established since 2010. So get onto their website. Big shout out to qtechshop.co.uk as well, makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, and to Jab Signature, who make all of our flyers. First time visitor to the channel, subscribe, hit the subscription button down in the bottom right hand corner, just roll over the Newcastle Legends logo, and that's it. You're subscribed. Hit a reminder for your favourite programmes. Hit the thumb up to like the video and to share it as well. Hit the arrow and just share it to your other social media. And there's always plenty friendly people in the chat as well. I am back tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. And it is ladies' night, and we've got a full squad tomorrow. Alicia, Holly, and Lily will be joining me to look back at the game at the weekend and probably talk a little bit about the impending takeover, which has dominated the headlines for the last 7 days. So we'll be looking back at the last 7 days. Plenty of shows coming up this week, and if you did miss Ben Jacobs, it is on catch up, so well worth a watch at 45 minutes. Me and Ben talked about the takeover. He took your questions, but lads, great weekend, and I know Loaded Football's been doing some stuff as well. Loaded Mag and Geordie's down south. You've had your hands full this weekend, lads. You've been busy. Great to see you getting out and doing stuff. I'll come to you, Chris, first. How's Loaded going?
Loving it, mate. Yeah, we do our Loaded Football weekly every Wednesday. That's always really good fun. We're now obviously on the radio as well between 1 and 3. They replay it on a Saturday, 1 till 3 on Away Day Radio, and that's great. Always enjoy having the crack. And Pete comes on Loaded Mag, don't you, Pete? Sometimes, and we're going to get you on as well, Steve. We're just currently going through having all different guests on and stuff. So it's really good. We really enjoy doing it, and we talk about our favourite thing, which is football. Great stuff. And Pete, Geordie's down south, going well?
Yeah. Look, we're very spontaneous. We just go where the wind takes us. If we feel like we need to do a stream, then we'll just do one. No promotion, no nothing. It will just be out there, and it will just be like I say, spare of the moment. But it was a really good one this weekend with regards to the preview of West Ham, and it was, it was debating who had the worst owners, whether it was West Ham with Gold Sullivan and Brady, or whether it was Mike Ashley. So it was a really good debate. Obviously talking about the preview, and they were obviously supremely confident, and we put them in their place this weekend. So very happy about that. But yeah, give it a watch, really good watch. And yeah, like I say, we don't promote, we just do it when we feel we need to as a group.
Great stuff, lads. Go and enjoy the rest of the sun before the sun goes down. And well done, lads. Been a great weekend, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn.